All right, everybody. We have Margaret Parsons here today with us. She has just finished a year-long transformation, and there's just been so much that's happened that I'm just genuinely excited to unpack so you can see what this process looks like and kind of the roller coaster people go on. But, Margaret, I'm just so proud of you, and I would love for you to give people watching this an idea of like a year ago, this time a year ago, like what were some of the problems, frustrations, or challenges? Like where were you in that moment in time?
Oh, so it's kind of funny. I'm probably gonna cry. You probably already knew that. As soon as you said it was a year, I was like, oh my God. So a year ago, I was in a cycle that I didn't recognize, like I didn't consciously recognize. And it was constantly asking myself what I was doing wrong and what was wrong with me and why this was like everybody else is having success. Why am I not having success? I was I would say probably some depression in there. Just really frustrated. I've been trying to build a business since I turned 18. They were just different all the time. And then um, I got into what I do now, which is equine massage. And it was just like I was making progress in the local field, but I had a taste. I had seen what people were doing online. And I knew that, and to make that impact, I had to get out of local contacts. Like I had to get bigger. And so a year ago, I was just really frustrated and beating myself up over it, thinking like I'd done all this work and I should be farther and all this shame and guilt and all that shit. I was just carrying it around with me, just carrying it around for fun.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people can resonate with that because that's what happens, especially if you've done other coaching programs or things where you're like, how come I'm not there yet? Right? Like,
Yeah.
and then you start looking inwardly, and as you know, we are the empowered creators of our life, and uh, it is a looking inwards, but it's also just there's a lot of letting go in this process as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, what do you feel like were like the big key things that our time together in this process and the potential you program helped you with?
Well, I should also like step back to that first question again and be like, where was I a year ago? Oh, I was in Michigan a year ago.
Oh, true. You
That's a
different
big one.
location. Yeah, 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 yeah. This
Yeah,
was
that's
a
a
big
huge
part
one.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when it comes to like what made the difference, like yeah, that letting go process and um working with you gave me a safe like you gave me a safe foundation. Like I could just come in and be like, this is the shit. And you'd ask me some questions and I would get to be honest with myself. Like you gave me a safe space to be honest with myself about what I was willing to let go of and what I was actually holding on to that I didn't actually want anymore, but I was just too scared to let go of. And like there was I mean, I live across the country now. Like I was holding on to a house, I was holding on to a life that I told myself that I wanted, which is so funny, like how hard I was holding on to it because now I'm like, you couldn't pay me to go back. I don't want the house. I don't want the responsibility of having my own place that I thought was like the end all be all. Turns out I never wanted that. I just thought that that's what I was supposed to do. And there was so much of that that I let go of. And I was actually just talking to a friend yesterday about how I'm not a different person. I'm the same person without all the extra layers.
Hmm.
Like I was just able to and coming from Michigan into Arizona, you best believe I have to drop the layers. It's so hot here. you know? Um, but that was the thing, is like I'm just as awesome as I was back then. I just couldn't see it because I was wearing so many layers of garbage that I thought that I had to carry around, responsibilities that weren't mine to carry. And you really just helped me see that I could take those off and that it was a safe thing to do. Not only was it safe, but it was like for my safety to take them off,
Yeah.
for me to have what I wanted. So, I mean, like, shit, my business is so much better. My life, like, I moved across the country, but when it comes down to like, what was the changes? It was all the inner work, all the shit that I was beating myself up over that I didn't need to beat myself up over. I just needed to let go of it.
Yeah. Y'all, if you're listening to this, I'm sure you're having some kind of resonation with this because that's the stuff. Like everything, the reason Margaret's been such an amazing person in this transformation is she's allowed it to happen, right? A lot of times when people go through this process, they fight for their limitations and they get to keep them. This we created a saying during this process. It's puke, sweat, and tears, because there's all this type of stuff that goes through where you're literally like purging and letting go of all the things that happen. Um, Sometimes literally, sometimes figuratively. But the times we laugh, the times we cry, it's all part of this process of letting go of the layers that no longer serve us. That's it, right? And so as we started to peel away at the layers and go through this process, you know, now a year later, you're literally living in a different place. And that transition was such a big piece of this puzzle. Like what were some of the epic outcomes and you know things that occurred in this past year? Like what are some of the results?
Gosh. Um, recognizing it gets to be easy. Like this was something that I said for a long time. I've had other coaches that have said it gets to be easy, it gets to be easy. I'm like, yeah, sure, it gets to be easy. I didn't get it. I could say it all day. Some days it felt easy, I guess, because it was fun, because I am doing what I meant to do. But in the last year, I've upped my Fortnite time and my fantasy reading time and also increased my income at the same time. So that was really fucking cool because it gave me the opportunity to create a better connection with my daughter because I'm not stressed out and constantly running all the time and thinking about how much harder I have to work in my business. I'm like, no, girl, let's sit down. Let's play Fortnite for 4 hours straight. It's going to be great. Yeah, exactly. There's that for sure. And then also like when we've talked a lot about playing to win instead of playing to lose and recognizing that I was chasing safety and trying to keep doing the same things that I knew worked in my business. Like one of the reasons I was willing to move is because I grown my in-person practice twice, built it up, had to take a break, had to start all over, built it up again. So I was like, no problem, I can move somewhere else and do it again. And when I got here, I realized that wasn't in alignment with being here. That I had made that transformation and come across the country, and it was time to step into what I said I always wanted, which was the bigger impact in that online presence. And that was scary as shit because I was like, but I know this works
Yeah.
and this hasn't worked up until now, right? But all that work that we did, we were laying a foundation this whole time for me to be able to step into that platform. We had played games this whole time. You'd made everything a game for me, and I didn't know how much I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, everything's a game. I mean, life's game, relationships are a game, business is a game, body health is a game. It's all a game. And when you just understand how the game actually works, that's the biggest thing, right? So many of us are forcing and pushing when it's really more about letting go of our emotional attachment to the outcome and just moving forwards with this. And you've done so amazing. I mean, you're growing your business, you're making money, healthier, happier in a completely different location in a completely different state. It's just been so unbelievably awesome to watch this transformation, this evolution of you, who you've always been, you know. And it's just you just now get to live in this high value of yours of freedom, which is one of your highest values, which is beautiful. So I guess if somebody was like where you were a year ago and was like thinking about how, doing some transformational work on their mind, business, any of the stuff that we've done up to this point, um, what advice would you give them?
You got to play to win. And that means you got to be willing to let it all go. That means you got to be willing to throw up. That means like when I was sitting in the truck, like my dad drove me across the country because he obviously was very emotional about me leaving. Um, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat watching the country just go by, which was a beautiful experience, but also sitting there going, what if this doesn't work?
Yeah.
What if I fucked up? What if this is the worst thing I've ever done? And like having to come down from that feeling of like the throw up is here and having to like sit through it and sit in it and be uncomfortable. I had to be willing to do that. So if you're not willing to do that, just forget it. Go back to your 9 to 5, fuck off, like just forget it. But if
Yes.
you can tolerate the feeling of the throw up, then you get to realize that everything you're doing is just an experience. That's what we're fucking here for. It's just to have an experience. There's really no such thing as failure as long as you're actually pursuing what it is that you want to pursue. So yeah, go all in.
Couldn't have said it
That's
better.
it.
This is amazing. All facts were spoken there, folks. So, um, thank you, Margaret, for sharing your story and being vulnerable throughout this entire process, not just today. I'm just impressed you didn't. There were no tears shed during the making of
A
this.
little
Just
leaky
saying,
eye. Just a
yeah.
little leaky eye. It's
I
fine.
just am super impressed. That would have been totally normal and logical if that had happened. But I just am so excited. We're about to go into our next phase in this next game that we're about to play. So I'm so excited to see what that looks like for you. But thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing your story. And yeah, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for believing in me even when I didn't, because that was necessary. So thank you.
Amen.